Welcome to the second video on Google Apps. Today we'll be discussing how you can actually access Google Apps from within the departmental environment. First thing I want to point out is that you can actually see the presentation that I'm giving at the moment, the actual slides presentation. You can see that on this URL, which is https://goo.gl/QLHA6M. Okay, this will be quite short because it's quite an easy thing to do to access Google Apps. So just follow these slides. All right, we don't need that slide. We do need this slide. Okay, so let's go into present mode. So accessing Google Apps. So as I mentioned before in the first set of slides, Google Apps can be accessed through any browser, but some browsers are better than others. And Internet Explorer is probably the worst. So I would strongly recommend trying to use Chrome. If you can't use Chrome, use Safari or Firefox. So we're using Chrome for today. Now, another thing before we go on, which I don't have a slide on, is something that can make your experience with Google Apps massively confusing is if you have a private Google account and you're logged into that account. What happens is that you'll start the session using one account and then it'll flip over to the other account. Basically, as a rule of thumb, never be logged on to your private Gmail account or any private Google Apps accounts if you want to use Google Apps for education. It really confuses the user when you try and do this. So anyway, basically, if you want to use Google Apps, then what you do is you click on the staff portal. You just log into the portal as per normal. You go to My Learning Tools, and then you select Google Apps. The first time through, you'll be prompted. I can't remember exactly what it is, but you'll actually be prompted. I don't know why that's coming up, but that's just a one-off. After that, I would recommend you actually add the URLs to the My Essentials. You can do that with the little plus logo on the My Essentials. So let me show you what I mean by adding Google Apps to My Essentials. Have a look at the screen over here on the right, sorry. As you can see, I've already got Google Apps here. You don't have this icon at the moment. And what you do is you basically go into My Learning Tools. You go Google Apps, so you should already have done that. What we want to find is we're basically just looking for the URL actually. So if you highlight that and copy it, and then go back to here, click back on here. All right, then we can add more. So if we want to add more, let's get rid of that. Go add. And then I can go, how did I do it? Add a new one. And I can put new Google Apps to distinguish it from my other Google Apps. You don't need to put that. You can put whatever title you want. That will be the title that comes up on the screen. You Control Z, sorry. You Control V or paste into this, right click and paste into this field here, and you go save, and we should have it. So we go save again, and you can see the new Google Apps has come up, a new icon for the new Google Apps, and you can actually click on that and it will take you now into Google Apps. So you've created yourself a new icon. Okay, so once you actually log into Google Apps, you get this screen that you can see here. Now, as I said in the last video, this looks very busy, but actually I only use this one here, Drive, and Classroom. I only actually use those two out of this whole screen. Later on we might look at Sites, which is, it actually lets you build whole websites, but that's a little more complex. And for general usage, Drive, the option at Drive and Classrooms is more than enough. I might just go back there. You can see Docs, Sheets, and Slides, and if you wanted to create a document, it's very tempting to just click on Docs right here. What that does is it'll create a document, but outside of the folders organization. And so the first document you create, that's fine. The second you create, that's fine. But once you've got a couple of dozen documents, you really need folders to organize them and to find them. So I found that if you go Drive, and once you're in Drive, you actually have an option, New, which I'll show you in the next video. And if you click on New, then it will let you create a doc, a sheet, or a slide. So as a result, I would recommend that you don't go and click on Docs here, or Sheets, or Slides here. I'd always go into Drive and click that way. And that way you're forced to create a folder to organize your files in. Okay, and that's it really. You're on, if you've followed, let's see if I can go back. If you followed these steps, which is go to the staff portal, go to My Learning Tools and select Google Apps, you should be good, you should be logged in. One thing I'd highlight is that down the bottom of this page, if you actually scroll down, you'll see a couple of links down the bottom, which I wanted to highlight because they're very useful. The first is this one down here. And it tells you basically how teachers and students can access Google Apps. So you may have a student that hasn't used Google Apps before. It's great to know what the student's going to see. I do apologize for that. Keep the camera. Okay. The second thing on this screen is this one here, so the Google Apps community. Now this community, I can't emphasize enough, it's full of people, some smart, some beginners, some very experienced, there's teachers, there's techos. It's an awesome place to post questions, and no question is too dumb to ask. And certainly I've posted questions on there as a beginner, and people have really fallen over themselves to help me and answer my questions, which they did do very well. So I really recommend, if you have questions about Google Apps, by all means ask me, but you can also post them to the community. And it's also very interesting just to look at the community every so often, just to get new ideas and see how people are doing things. I certainly track that community. I find some of their suggestions very valuable. And I don't think we'll worry about that, and we won't do an activity. So that's pretty much it for this video. So it's really all a matter of getting a browser, preferably Chrome, a modern version of Chrome, going to your portal. Let's click back a little here, going to My Learning Tools, and then select Google Apps, and you should get there. The next video in this series will actually run you through a few simple activities on Google Apps. But for now, it's goodbye. Thank you.